Hi, Ashish.
Hi, MD. How are you?
Very good. Okay, great. Welcome, everybody, and good evening. This is the 200th episode of AI Pod, and it's a live session. It's quite a feat for us, 200 episodes, and we are not even 24 months. We are, in fact, in the 19th month. This episode is brought to you by AI Pod and Axel. AI Pod is India's largest online community of AI enthusiasts, and Axel is a one-of-a-kind accelerator program for AI startups run by IIT Alumni Center, Bengaluru. So, with that, it's my pleasure to have Ashish with us. Ashish Joshi, who's the CEO, co-founder of Artium Academy. Ashish, welcome.
Thank you so much, MD. Really pleasure to be here.
Yeah, likewise, Ashish. Thank you for joining us. Like I mentioned to you earlier, you're our first founder of a consumer startup to be on our show.
Wow,
So
that's
that's
quite a
that's very
responsibility on
special
my
for us.
shoulders. Yeah, yeah. Excited, excited.
Yeah, Ashish, maybe we should just get started by you telling us a very quick brief on what you do, what your company does, and
Yeah.
also point out the scale you've achieved today.
All right. So, yeah, I think having spent time in media tech space for more than 25 years, I mean, very clearly we identified a sort of a space where we felt music education in India was probably highly unorganized, highly unstructured, rigid, archaic, whereas despite of the depth, diversity, and richness of music that probably India has, which is parallel to none in the world, we have never had a brand emerging from India to the world, which is synonymous to what you heard of Trinity or Berkeley's or Juilliard's or RSL, etc. out there. So with that in mind, 5 years back, we decided to build a music education brand which truly stands out globally, one of its kind, where we are driving outcomes for the music educators. Outcomes we define in two forms. One, the outcomes for the students who would like to learn music in a structured format where they can they can get certified through a globally recognized program, which is Ofqual aggregation. We are the first music education brand from India, which is Ofqual regulated, which means we are at par with what Trinity offers. But more so,
Sorry, what
we
is
are
it? What regulated?
Ofqual regulated. Ofqual is a UK body which regulates Trinity, RSL, ABRSM, all those platforms. So we are the first brand which is Ofqual regulated from India. More so, we are the only music education platform in the world where all Indian classical music curriculums, genres are Ofqual regulated. Which means today, if a learner in US wants to learn Indian music, they don't have to worry about enrolling themselves for Trinity. A lot of learners that we know globally, they go for Trinity because Trinity offers Western music to those people. They do not have a choice for Indian classical music, which is Ofqual regulated. So we're the first brand today. And in 5 years of journey, we started 2020. This year we completed 5 years. We have more than 55,000 learners from all over the world. Almost 50% of our learners are Indians who are living outside India, the NRA population, the expatriate population globally. And we have more than 350 teachers. We do online live learning. We have our own platform through which we deliver this education process. The other outcome that I was talking about was the journey of a learner from being a learner to an influencer or an artist. And no other music education platform or no arts platforms globally provides you a platform to launch yourself as an artist. We are the only one where we have our own music label that we have created. We have partnered with Warner there, and we distribute our content to various platforms. So we also, and then there are a lot of opportunities that we give them, like Artium Superstar, Artium Unmute, various platforms to perform and launch themselves as an artist if you have the real potential. That's the 5% of the people who would love to sort of go through the journey. So there are tangible outcomes, one in form of the real journey from a learner to influencer, and then second is in during a process of education, you will be able to get certificates which gets you UCAS points, credit points, which you can then
Hmm.
utilize for your global studies.
I see. So the credits which you get are kind of tradable elsewhere.
Absolutely,
That's what it
absolutely.
means, right?
Which is why
Okay.
a lot of people go in for Trinity or ABRS or RSL in that sense.
Got it. That means most of your audience here are kids or youngsters.
No, surprisingly, MD, 35 to 40% of our learners are from 6 to 16 kind of an age group,
Ah,
but almost 35% are 40 plus guys
40
and
plus.
40 plus. And
Wow.
these are the bunch of guys who left music very early in their life. Probably they had their own struggles while growing up, making ends meet. But now they are in the second phase of the life. They really want to learn music sincerely, and they are one of the most engaged users that we have. Probably it's social equity, want to do something more than what they've been doing in their life. So, which is the surprising fact.
So that's interesting because you actually have just identified two very different segments. I suppose the 6 to 16 age group, which you said, the decisions are, I suppose, more made by the parents. Is that right?
Right, absolutely,
Whereas the
absolutely.
40 plus are made by. So how do you deal with that? It's a bit of a dichotomy in your business.
No, it's an easy task actually. So
Ah,
our target marketing is to the 40 plus people who are either the parents of 6 to 12 or 6 to 16
of
kids,
course, of
or they will
course,
learn for themselves,
of
right?
course. That
And
makes it easier.
yeah, and they get enticed by either the marketing that they see for their kids or the ads that they for kids, or they themselves get inspired to learn music.
Yeah, you talked about structure, Ashish. I'm just curious to know because typically, in fact, I grew up in those days. I'm sure you did as well. Where
Sure,
if you are interested in music, you find a teacher in your locality. I mean,
right,
be it classical music or whatever,
sure,
and then
sure.
send your kid there to
Right,
learn. And you know that if it is Carnatic classical, there's a little more structure because it's just
yeah,
defined that way. Hindustani is a
right.
little less. And when it
Less
comes to
structure.
Bollywood and so on, perhaps there's very little structure. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
in a way.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So now that you offered so many genres, like you called out,
Right,
I mean, Indian
right,
music itself,
right.
how do you bring structure to all these? Because many are typically unstructured.
So that is the idea, MD. The reason, despite of the depth and diversity of Indian music, we never had a brand emerging from India to the world because there was no structure. Now, if you see in the Western brands, Western music education process, there's a very clear-cut defined structure that you can move from a point A to point Z in a very nice laddered format, right? So that was one thing that we had to do, and therefore we went to Ofqual and got ourselves um, accredited. It's almost like ISO 9001 of music education
Mm,
in that sense. So there's a
mm,
certain structure we have to follow where you move from a certain point to certain, so from grade zero to grade eight, equivalent
mm,
for Western music. That
mm,
structure is clearly defined lessons,
mm.
assessments, examination process, certificates, and then you move to the next level. One unique thing though we brought in at Artium is while structure is great, most of the learners who want to learn any performance arts, be it music or dance, they really want to perform too. In a
Right.
small community, in a larger community, in a karaoke group, or in front of the audience, or maybe just wants to go and perform on the stage. And therefore, the element of performance is a very integral part of the structure that we've built. We have not let that element dilute while we build the structure.
Okay. Now, I know that you have many well-known musicians
Yeah.
associated with Sonu Nigam and Aruna Sairam and so on.
Yes, Chitrayanand,
What's
yeah.
the role they play? I know, of course, they bring a lot of brand value to you as well.
Sure,
But
sure,
is
sure.
there an operational role they play with you?
Absolutely. In fact, all of these guys have been involved with us right from day one. And let me name them all. It's Sonu Nigam, K.S. Chitra, Aruna Sairam, Louis Banks, Gino Banks, Shubha Mutkal, Anish Pradhan. These are all Mr. Anand Vaidyanathan. They are all the experts in nine different genres of music, and they all serve as a part of an academic board, and they're faculty heads for various verticals. What that means is they've all been involved in designing the curriculum with us, right? They've been involved in process of defining the curriculum out there. They do master classes, they do teacher induction, and they do also certify. They also sort of you get signed certificates by these maestros when you have chosen an ungraded path, which means you don't want to go for examination, which is of course regulated. But if you want to just go for a hobby learning process with us, which means you get signed certificates by these people.
So that was my next question, actually. I mean, if you really look at this is a passion-based kind of thing. You don't have to go and attend board exams, and you don't have that pressure. because most of EdTech is driven by that outcome.
Right,
I want to score a good rank in my JE, therefore I join this class,
right,
and so on. Here, it is a choice, and you need to really want to do it
right.
to really join. And for some, it's a hobby. Some say, I need to get those credits which you talked about, which I want to kind of use in my studies abroad. How do
Sure.
you balance that out? Because why I'm asking you this is, as a hobby, I would typically say, next 3 months is board exam, so I'm not going to attend classes.
Right.
And then I come back and maybe start I don't know, I have to restart it maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
So how do you deal with it? And more importantly, how do you help your teachers deal with it? Because it's honestly a pain for them.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, so I'll tell you one good thing, MD, is the narrative of music education being a hobby is changing in a country like India.
Oh,
You see the demographics, or rather, you see the way it has been. In 90% of Chinese kids learn piano because they realize that music education is a foundation life skill that you must acquire in a very early stage of life for the benefits like right brain growth, cognitive skills, etc., etc.
mm,
You go to US, every 3 kids has learned music right from grade one.
mm, mm,
In Finland, it's 60%. UK, it's 65%. Singapore, it's again 90%.
mm,
So India always embraced music education or any performance arts for that matter as a passion or a hobby sort of a thing. That's
mm.
changing right now. The new age parents have realized they need to offer a holistic growth to the kids. So when the kid turns 5 or 6, they pick one sport and one performance arts for sure. And within performance arts, music stands tall. Now that narrative is changing, and with that, India is changing for sure. I'll give a parallel if you want to give a market parallel. I mean, while we are very, very inspired by US, in many ways, we are very close to what China is. The per capita income is increased, which become 3 times in last 15 years for that matter. China is a $60 billion music education market,
Mm.
and 80% of that is online.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and that's exactly where we are leading to right now. And I believe that narrative of music being a hobby is changing, and more parents are coming and pushing the kid to start learning music for sure. Now, I do agree that if there's an examination for a month and a half, you discontinue your learning process and then you move back, right?
Mm.
But that happens with even sports. That happens with everything
That's
else.
true. That's true.
Thankfully, we have built a platform and a process that you never leave your music behind because you have your own dashboard, you have your own content, you can even
Yeah,
practice what you're learning.
I'm gonna hold on to that. I mean, hold that
Sure,
thought, Ashish, because I'm going
sure,
to come
sure,
back to tech a little later.
sure.
Okay. Now, I mean, kids especially, I mean, these days need kind of gratification on a continuous basis.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I'm looking at classical music because that's the
sure.
hardest of all.
Yeah,
I think Bollywood and so on is a little easier,
yeah,
relatively, I
yeah, yeah,
suppose.
yeah. Right.
Okay. How do you keep them engaged? Because performance is one,
Yeah.
uh, but what else? And by the way, are these one-on-one, these
Yeah,
trainings?
all one-on-one live learning. We do have offline centers in Chennai. We are putting up one offline center in Bombay, Bangalore, which is 1:5. So one class, 5 students, one teacher,
Mm.
5 students. But our online, which has been the largest sort of category for us, is all one-on-one live.
So how do you get that going? I mean, how do you make sure that the kid, I'm just using kid as a kind of
Yeah. Again.
as an example over here,
Yeah.
but how do you keep her or him engaged for a long period of time?
Yeah, yeah. No, so I think again a very interesting question, and that stems from the fact that we have a certain philosophy of classical music in our a narrative of that in our country, where it's believed to be very boring. You do not know why you're learning the saregama padanisas and sargams and alankars and etc. out there.
Mm.
So one thing we changed when we started off at Artium, and it comes out of a lot of research of interaction with multiple learners across different genres. You see, when a kid starts speaking a language, right? The introduction to language are the statements that you make when you're interacting with a 1-year-old kid who can't speak, but you're still saying, "Hey, how are you, bacha? Are you enjoying?" etc. When kids start speaking, they speak words: mom, dad, amma, appa, I. That's how they speak. Do they say M-O-M, mom, D-A-D, dad? No. The introduction to alphabets comes 2-3 years later when they go to kindergarten.
Correct.
So what at RTM we believe that music should be introduced through singing first, Make them fall in love with the music first, make them sing whatever they know out there, then explain the reason why you need to break it into sargams, and then take them through. So the idea is to make them fall in love with the process of classical music and why it's required for them to learn. The moment they realize it's important for them to understand and appreciate what they want to ultimately sing in form of a song, it becomes very, very easy.
That's not how traditional classical music is taught
And
here,
this
by
is
the way.
exactly what we're trying to change, by the way. And I'm so glad that our teachers who have learned through traditional methods of learning classical music are imbibing this theory. In fact, I'll tell you very interesting. When I spoke to Shubhaji for the first time, when she was getting onboarded, she said we learned music in a very different fashion. It was okay for our teachers to even whack us when we were not up to the mark. But today's world has changed. This constructive criticism, you have to sort of instill, that interest and the belief in their minds that, hey, listen, I can learn too. So idea is very simple. We teach classical music without diluting the impact of classical music, but the method of teaching is to sort of get them through the rigors of that only when they've started falling in love with the process out there and mix it very nicely.
Let me ask the harder one. There will be students, I'm sure, who don't have a swar sense, a lay sense.
Yeah,
That's going to happen.
yeah.
What do you do with them?
Yeah, I think there is again a very interesting philosophy that most of the times we make a definition of their swer sense in the very first. Now there are only like very minuscule percentage of people who have no understanding of swer. By the way, one simple idea: if you can listen to beautiful music and appreciate that, means you have swer sense for sure.
Hmm.
Probably it's never been inculcated in singing process or performance process from that point of view. So there's a little bit of patience required to build that, and there are various methods in which you start getting. Of course, their process is going to be slower than regular ones, and therefore the teachers have to take them through that journey very differently than the talented ones or naturally gifted ones who come with some understanding of Sura out there. Very few guys are absolutely Besura, and they will not be able to do this. In that case, we have very honest chat, and maybe when advise them to pick up an instrument instead of continuing
Hmm.
the journey with singing, because it's easy for you to pick up an instrument without having a inherent talent to be able to sing.
Yeah, I should tell you this. I'd spoken to a teacher some time ago, a music teacher, and she had some students, and I was listening to some of the students, and then separately I asked her, how do you deal with it? Because some were completely off.
Yeah,
She said, I don't have a problem with it because even if they don't become singers, they'll become very good rasikas.
yeah,
That was
absolutely.
her.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Their
That-
appreciation for music will grow by default, even if they can't become. And that's exactly what I was trying to say, that we take them to the rigor. But
Hmm.
one good thing that we've again built is while we have a curriculum which is structured, we let the learner's aptitude define the pace.
Hmm.
It is not one size fits all.
Right. Sure. What about parents? They play a big part in this. What's your expectation from them?
Yeah, I
To
think
stay completely away or be involved with you?
no, I think it's important. Therefore, we have a very interested. In fact, we have PTMs built as part of our structure. Every fourth class, 12th class, 24th class are PTMs.
Hmm.
And so we love parents to be involved because we've realized that their involvement in the journey of the students' growth is extremely important.
Hmm.
And how do we involve them? Of course, we have very scientifically defined graphs for progression that they can see on our dashboard. But
Hmm.
more than that, these PTMs help teacher and learner parent interact and
Hmm.
explain things that they want. For example, one of the things that has been missing in our Indian, or rather missing in music education process, is between the two classes, whether it's physical or online, there is nothing, there is no model for practice.
Hmm.
And that's where exactly where a lot of people sort of lose their interest.
Correct.
And that's where we have tried to, and I'll talk about that when technology comes into picture for
When we
sure.
come to tech. Yeah,
Sure.
sure. But by the way, listeners, you can ask questions. In fact, Ashish and I will chat till around 7:19 now, 7:30, 35 or so. And after that, we'll open up to questions. You'll need to post your questions in the Q&A box, not the chat box. Post your questions there, and I'll ask Ashish your questions. Okay, so just remember that Q&A box. Please post your questions. Okay, Ashish, coming back to
Yeah.
continuing this thing.
Sure.
Now, I'm going to talk to you as a founder now. I mean,
Sure.
but
Sure.
as a there are many founders in this group, by the way.
Sure.
So 5 years ago, when you started, you would have obviously made some assumptions.
Yeah.
Which assumption after 5 years today doesn't hold at all? Is there any?
Oh, wow. Amazing. Um, I think one of the biggest assumptions that we made and probably doesn't hold completely true right now is the fact that I thought everyone who wants to sing or wants to play or a karaoke player or a karaoke singer would by default want to learn music.
Uh,
And I'll just spell it out a little more.
yeah, sure, please.
I think there is this like a person who wants to learn music has to understand their flaws a little bit. If you are an evolved learner, if you're a beginner or if you're a first time user, I think your need has to be more than just. I mean, you need to be able to understand that I want to learn for either sharpening my skills or I want to learn for my cognitive skills or confidence or getting certificate process, etc. The clarity has to be there because what happens is a lot of people who want to learn music and they expect that they will be able to see changes in 2, 3, 4, 5 months.
Hmm.
Any form of performance arts, it takes
Yeah.
time
And practice,
and
a lot of
practice.
practice.
Yeah. So I thought everybody who has inherent talent would come in and learn music because we are redefining the way music learning was happening. But that's not the case because a lot of people are still in that bubble that, "Hey, listen, I know it all, or listen, I don't need to learn, or probably I can learn in 2, 3 months, 4 months." Now,
Hmm.
that one realization has actually started helping us sharpening our product strategy, our tech strategy, our academic strategy, our content strategy, and we know for the fact that what are we trying to build now.
Wow, interesting. And if given this once again as a founder question,
Yeah,
many founders avoid consumer businesses.
yeah,
Reason is that it's one of the hardest things to do.
right.
Now, you not only started, but you have scaled to, you said what, 55,000?
55,000 learners, yeah.
55,000 learners in 5 years. That's
Yeah,
a fantastic achievement, actually.
thanks, thanks.
Tell us a little bit about the journey. Was there any point where you said, boy, I mean, I'm close to giving up?
Yeah, no, there must be many a times for sure. But one thing, probably to our credit, we were very clear that we were not trying to build a music education marketplace or a platform or a services business. We were always going after a music education brand building. And when I say brand building, you need to stay true to your own curriculum. You have to build it like an institution. Imagine Artem is a virtual institution. It's just
Hmm.
that we are on tech first, so we are more global from day one, right? But we have built our own set of teachers, our own training programs, our own curriculum, our own structures, our own certification process, and our own platforms for them to perform and sort of do out there. That kept us very honest to our, and we knew this is not, by the way, while we are a consumer tech platform, we are not a typical consumer tech platform. A consumer tech platform is expected to have millions of subscribers over a period of time using our services and etc. We knew we were building a premium music education brand, and even at 2.5, 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs subscribers or other learners, active learners learning with us, we would be doing 1,000 crores of business from a business point of view, right? Because it's a very high ATV, high LTV. It's a sticky
Hmm.
product. People remain with you for a longer period of time. The lifetime value of a customer is pretty high in that sense. So we were
Hmm.
focused about it, and that helped us sort of figure a way through a maneuver through multiple challenges. Because a lot of times you get carried away by your investors or the community of people in EdTech space who are chasing. Hey, listen, 50, I mean, while it sounds like a great number to you, a lot of people might say, "This 55,000 people, I have got 10 million subscribers learning maths from my platform," in a
Hmm.
more linear video platform model in that sense, basically. So, yes, we had challenges, but we were very clear about what we want to achieve. And therefore, that clarity sort of kept us on the right path over a period of time. And therefore, we could build something of significance over a period of time.
Yeah. So just go a little deeper in. Can you call out something? Because once again, for the founders who are kind of
Yeah.
listening to this, is there one particular incident or a situation which you had to kind of, say, I need to somehow get past this because then I'll be able to build
Yeah.
a
Yeah. So I think
wonderful business.
Absolutely, and that's again and I'm going back into my own memory while I'm answering these questions, because I would have had 10,000 challenges in last 5 years. But when we started off with all these maestros as part of our ecosystem, we had lot of people who were in the preparatory stage of their means. So we have preparatory, intermediate, proficient, advanced.
Hmm.
People who have no background or no talent by default, they start from preparatory,
Hmm.
and then you go to intermediate and proficient and advanced. We started realizing that there is a large pool of people who are coming to learn with us, were the preparatory guys, pretty much who had never learned before, had no understanding of music, etc., etc. Now those guys, while they're the most enthusiastic bunch of people, they're the most ignorant guys with the highest amount of expectations. And 9 or 10 times we will fail the expectations because they will have very unrealistic expectations with respect to learning a performance arts. So while it was showing up good in numbers, it wasn't doing good to our metrics, to our
Churn was high.
KPIs. Churn was
Churn was
pretty
high.
high, retention was a question, LTV was a question mark, and we realized this is not a sustainable model. So in the very first 2 years of our journey, we realized that we have to build a brand which is known for its education. We are deeper, we are exciting, or we are enticing more little evolved learners, little informed learners, little appreciative learners to come and learn, and not to masses of people who would sort of want to come and learn and become a singer in 3 months.
So to get your thought right on this, your filtering improved, or you changed your filter of the people you're bringing into the system rather than trying to change their expectation.
Absolutely.
And what was
Because
that filter? How would you find that out? That
no, I think
this is a guy who's going to be a long term with you.
it starts from your marketing communication,
Hmm.
right? Where they see the positioning is a little premium, a little serious, structured. Pedagogy is the king, right? Our content started talking about all our key narratives that we were trying to build at Artium with respect to music education. And slowly and steadily, we started seeing more evolved learners because we have a free trial class, and that's the first level of scrutiny for us to understand what kind of talent is coming to learn from us.
Sorry, what trial class? Field trial.
Free trial class,
Free
the
trial. Oh,
free
sorry.
trial
Okay.
class, and
Okay.
that's the filter for us to understand what kind of talent is coming to learn from us.
Hmm.
In the very first year of our attempt to go and sort of position ourselves as a more evolved and serious music education brand. By the way, I'll tell you one more thing, MD.
Hmm.
When you say you're trying to sort of portray yourself as a serious education brand, doesn't mean that you are trying to say the casual learner should not come.
Hmm.
But the appreciation of your processes and the rigidness that you're trying to be in structure will be higher in the minds of even a casual learner when they know, oh, fine, this guy really mean a business. Like I'll give you an example. My daughter wants to learn football. Now, I will definitely go and put her in a football academy, which is offering outcomes, which is more serious, which is more rigorous, not with the
Hmm.
intention of making a footballer. But I
Hmm.
know for the fact that she will go through the rigors, even if she's a first time footballer, and she'll
Right.
appreciate everything that is built out there. So that narrative of going away and not sounding like any other casual platform available to learn music, we start building a serious education brand, and that did world of good to us. Our KPIs started moving in the right direction in everywhere. Our LTV by CAC, everything improved in last 2 years.
Wow. And what was the level of change in this? I mean, you're already kind of driving this train. So
Right.
you seem to have made a shift to another track while you're going at that pace. How did you manage the transition? Because that's a pretty significant transition you're talking about.
Yeah, I think the intent was always in that direction. The clarity wasn't there in our minds as to how are we trying to portray ourselves. So I'll give you one simple example. We used to, so when you go and when the consumer business, you go with the trend of what's SEO sort of ask demanding, right? And therefore you start using those keywords in your narrative,
Yeah.
in your marketing,
Yeah.
everywhere out there.
Yeah.
So in fact, for example, learn Bollywood online, for example, or film music online is a keyword that people search a lot. So you
Hmm.
are naturally gravitated to start using that in a marketing campaign, etc. But you know for the fact the moment you go and do that, you are gonna have all the possible newbies to try and instead of that, we picked up the right keywords, right SEO approach, right narrative to start positioning, right from there to marketing, to content, to our sales approach, to our communication with our learners who are with us in the journey, to our teacher training. Everything became around we are building India's first truly global music education brand. So therefore, we are serious about it. I'll give you last example. I'll tell you, MD.
Mm,
A lot of people who want to learn music, they want flexibility. My time, my
mm,
teacher, flexibility of
mm.
my hours, etc., etc. We started building flexibility initially was a part of our sales pitch. We removed that in last 3 years. We said if you want flexible, probably we are the right people. You
Interesting.
have to you have to commit yourself to education process. When you were learning in your engineering, medical, etc., were you seeking flexibility out there? No. Why are you taking music education, which is also a form of education, in a non-serious manner? And the more we spoke about it, the more people took us seriously.
That's the kind of filtering you did.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's switch to tech a little bit.
Sure, sure.
Um, so, do you call yourself a tech company or a music company? I know
We
it's not a. I mean, you can
Yeah,
try
yeah. So
answering it.
we do not call ourselves as an edtech company. We call ourselves as an education institution. And where
Interesting.
tech is an enabler,
Mm,
because we intend to be omni-channel as we go along the journey as a brand. And we'll cater to different kind of markets by being online and offline first. Tech is a facilitator of the process.
mm,
We wanted to deliver an elevated learning experience. We wanted to deliver something which is as good as offline experience in online format. So therefore we went tech first, and we also wanted to break a very big barrier that is existing in today's performance arts education ecosystem, is the fact that if I want to learn music and if I'm in Bombay in Ghatkopar area, I'm forced to choose a teacher from my vicinity because otherwise I can't afford to have a teacher home. So the quality I have to compromise with whatever I have out there.
mm.
Here was a platform where you can be sitting in Chennai, or you can be sitting in California and learn a Carnatic music from a top class teacher in Chennai. I know for the fact the best guitarists in India are in Assam, then why am I learning from a local guitarist out here? Sitting in Bombay, I can learn from the best guitarist in Assam. To be able to deliver that, we had to build a tech first approach.
Mm,
But then we started working deeper into tech. We said, let's not just take offline, online right now. We were doing it on Zoom for first 2 years. We moved
mm,
out from Zoom. We built our entire video conferencing platform out on our own. We
mm.
built all the widgets and accompaniments that are required to learn music. For example, tanpura, tabla, metronome, guitar tuner, etc. We built all those widgets on our dashboard. Through
Mm.
a peer-to-peer socket technology, we built a sync feature that if I am starting my tanpura, I can start my tanpura on my dashboard on the
Mm,
same frequency the tanpura starts on the other side without having a
mm,
lag, because there
mm.
were people who were experiencing distorted experience when I'm talking to you, but if I start singing and if I
Yeah,
play tanpura on my phone,
yeah,
one will tend to negate the other. So
right.
we started fixing smaller but very pertinent issues
Mm,
and started building our tech. And in fact, remaining focused on music helped us fix this genre by genre. In fact, today our the way we have designed our keyboard structure is you can use a MIDI cable of 100 rupees, plug in your keyboard to our dashboard, and your entire keyboard gets reflected on the screen. And when you start playing the keys, your teacher can see all the keys that you're playing along with the notations on the top. And same thing you see when a teacher is playing. It's more real than real in that sense.
mm,
So
mm,
we've solved a lot of these things using technology, and then that's how you can call it. We are a tech first,
mm.
but I would love to not call ourselves an ed tech company. Technology is delivery. We are a music education institution first.
Yeah, EdTech will bring back, I think, some other memories. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How's tech helping your teachers?
I think phenomenally, because a lot of these teachers who were teaching online otherwise in their own world, when they were teaching offline, there was different thing story, and it is solving in two different ways. Let's say the online first. When they were teaching online, like I said, they couldn't use many of the accompaniments which are fundamentally required to teach music efficiently
Mm,
because of the lag they were experiencing out there. Suddenly they are now feeling like they have a real experience in front of them, right? So we have enabled plus dashboard management, so
mm,
learner can boot their classes whenever they want. The content delivery after every class is on the dashboard, so teacher just goes to the lessons out there. At the end of the lessons they deliver the assignments. Then learners have a practice studio which they can, so we have all these tools built in along with AI, where they can. So, for example, I just finished a Sargam today or a Bandish today in my class. The
Hmm.
Bandish is available immediately after class on my dashboard. I
Hmm.
can use my practice studio to practice my Bandish, perfect it to the best of my ability, and then share as an assignment to my teacher. My teacher has a dashboard on the phone and on a laptop. They can check my assignments, annotate, tell me where did I go wrong. 1 minute, 10 seconds, I went flat, comment on that. Information comes back to the learner. So between the two classes, there's enough and more happening between the learner and a teacher. It actually creates a large amount of engagement out there. Same thing was absolutely non-existent in offline world. Today, you finish a class in offline, you can give your notes until you go back and record on WhatsApp and share, and there's no way for them to sort of then. It's a very unstructured approach. So technology has helped them bring in a structure to every damn process.
So, which means that, like you said, a bandish can be practiced many
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
And would the tools be able to tell you how you're improving, or does a teacher have to come in and tell you how you're
No,
improving?
so the AI tools that we've built right now, it allows you to have 90% accuracy on pitch and tal, etc., which is good enough for people. I still believe in classical music. There's so much of improvisation that an AI cannot replicate overnight. It'll take some time for sure. But
Of
even if you
course.
can offer 90% accuracy to certain things out there, it's good enough for people to say, okay, fine, I've practiced enough to get to as close as what the real learning that I had in my mind. Now I'm confident enough to send it to my teacher. Teacher does the balance 10% to explain to them where they went off.
And you're, I mean, given that you have 55,000 students, and I suppose you're doing several thousands of classes a month, uh,
Yeah, yeah. We
is
do we
that
do more than
data
1,000 classes a day. Yeah,
okay? 1,000, that's at least 30,000 a
yeah, yeah,
month. So
yeah.
when you have this much, is the data helping you kind of get an edge over building your own AI models?
Absolutely. In fact, had it not been for so many classes, a lot of part of what we're building now wouldn't be possible because now, for example, we know different kind of voices, different kind of structures, different classes that we have had so far. For us to be
Hmm.
able to assess what will work better. So the amount of data that we've had so far, I mean, every class is recorded.
Hmm.
It helps us sort of structure our models as we go along the journey.
Okay. I'm going to, I know we have been speaking for 37 minutes now. I'll have one
Sure, sure,
question.
sure.
Maybe I've already set it up with my earlier question, which is if somebody came along,
Yeah,
copied your pedagogy, copied your methodology, copied your pricing, because I'm sure pricing is out there on your website. So they did all of that. What is that one thing they won't be able to copy, which basically gives you a more.
I think first thing, the depth of technology, it's difficult for someone to copy overnight. They'll
Hmm.
always be 6 to 8 months, one year behind us. That's one thing I can assure you because this is just building a music tech is not possible without having the depth of musicality in your ecosystem for sure. It takes a
Hmm.
lot to be able to build what we built today,
Hmm.
right? And I can go as deep as possible in technology language with you to make you understand, but I hope you appreciate where I'm coming from.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah, I do
very,
appreciate.
yeah, it's not easy for you to build a music tech platform overnight. So tech is going to be a big differentiator for sure, and that we pride ourselves in that. Second is what I told you about the global recognition of our curriculum. It took us 2.5 years to do it because it's
Hmm.
a process. You have to meet so many standards to even get a structure approved. So that's going to be the second. In fact, Emily, just to give you, and without sounding a little pompous, we are the latest entrant in this space. There have been multiple brands who have been doing music education in India for so many years. But by far, we are way ahead of those guys because we adopted agility in being
Yeah,
able to build something like this faster than someone else can do. So even if somebody comes with a lot of capital,
yeah,
it's
really
not
hard to
that easy
do.
to crack.
Yeah, I mean, given that this is an AI enthusiast group, I was thinking, and you can confirm whether the data which you have, the music data over the last 5 years itself is a moat, assuming that you're using all of it to build
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
capability.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll give you three, four examples for this group because it's an AI first group in that sense.
Yeah.
We are using AI in four different areas. One, of course, like I said, we have built our own pitch recognition platform, which
Mm.
allows you to sing along with an original piece of content, and it tells you 90% accuracy on where you are on various musical parameters. So it's a good
Mm.
assessment tool that we built out there.
Mm.
Point number two, we have built our entire demo operations. We are even moving our sales operations AI. The
Mm.
kind of data that we have in terms of our various sales calls,
So,
interactions,
sorry, when
etc.
you said demo operation, you're talking about the free demo you talked about.
Free demo operations where a lot of people have a lot of questions before
Ah.
even they're coming for demos out there. You should experience Artium's AI-led demo operations or AI-led sales operations. You will get 98% of your questions answered without having a human intervention out there, because that's all coming
Mm.
from the data that we had for sure. So it's built on a
Okay.
model for sure. The third thing that we are trying to build potentially to reach out to larger audience is a right now our free trial classes are all human led. So humans take free trial classes. But by
Mm.
now we know pretty much everything that goes in a free trial class. So we are trying to create human avatars which will
Okay.
give you almost a similar experience.
Yeah.
But that's probably one filter
Mm.
to reach out to larger audience without having to have humans, and then they
Yeah.
can then I have a model in place to even mitigate that part actually.
Sure.
So we're doing, and the last thing we're doing, MD, which is very very important, to be able to make sure that the quality we are assuring today to the learners 55,000 remains the same at even 2 lakhs 5 lakhs learners. It's important for us to have very rigorous QA process, and we have a very interesting, we have been doing QA of the classes with humans doing the QA, both academic and soft skills QA for our classes. We have so much of learning from that, that the entire soft skills QA has now moved to AI.
This is when
AI
you say soft skills, it's soft skills of who? Of the
of the teachers,
teachers. Oh, okay.
right?
Okay.
Because you need to make sure you can't be switching off your cameras, you can't be using foul language, you can't be
Of course.
sleeping, you can't be angry, you can't be a lot of things of that nature,
Yeah.
which is required. So all these parameters are now completely AI driven. Every class goes through an AI and it gives us certain red flags, and then we do academic AI on top of it, okay, QA on top of it. So a lot of adoption
Great.
of AI in our process.
Great. Great. Okay. I'm going to switch to questions which have come on the
Sure.
Q&A. So let me quickly open it up. Folks, you can ask your questions now. Just type it out in your Q&A box. As a new consumer tech, this is asked by Divyam. As a new consumer tech organization, marketing and communication can help gain initial traction traffic of users. What contributes in maintaining this user base?
Yeah, I think all of us have pretty much understood a very 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 popular term in consumer tech business called product market fit.
Ah,
You need to achieve a certain amount of product market fit within the first 1.5 2 years of your time, and that's defined by the organic traffic that you start driving over a period of time. So your marketing, communication, promotions, etc., can help you to a certain level of degree, but beyond a certain stage, your product has to start speaking for itself, and then people have to start talking about it. For example, I'll just give you a perspective. 5 years back, we had 4% of total traffic at the end of first year. 4% was organic, 96% was inorganic.
mm,
As we speak today, 37% of total traffic is organic and 63% is inorganic. We want to move to 50% by the end of this financial year, organic. So therefore, um, you need to move as much. I mean, your product and your offering and your academics has to speak for itself for people to start loving your product, and adoption rate then becomes much more easier.
yeah. Talking about adoption, how much? What's the right word? Reference. I mean, how much of
Reference.
your new customers is driven by reference?
I think almost
Because
13 to
that is
14%.
zero cost for you.
Yeah, there's 13 to 14% right now.
13 to
37%
14.
is organic traffic, almost 13% is referral right now.
Great. Okay. This is asked by Soumya. How does a group of musicians who play together, live bands or Vrindagan bands, uh, approach such a learning as offered by you? Is it possible for them? That's the question,
Yeah.
MD.
So yeah, I mean, what I understand is can five band members learn together from a platform like ours? I think we thought of an MD really in our journey. I mean, a lot of us advised us, a lot of people advised us to go one is to many in that model, but we realized, I think in a music learning platform where people with different kind of aptitudes might come in to learn a performance arts, it's very difficult to deliver one is to many
Yeah.
experience.
And also, I think there are platforms of this kind where you can actually
Yeah,
get together remotely and
yeah. So I
you
think
know,
I think today at least our tech platform is good enough for me to have a jamming session with 4 or 5 guys together. But the learning part we haven't thought of because we realized that our learners usually came with different kind of aptitude and therefore they needed different journeys of learning with us. So we haven't cracked it yet.
Okay, cool. I think we don't have any other questions from the audience, but I will ask you one question, Ashish, maybe a
Sure.
final question. When
Sure.
you look back at the last 5 years, what was that one thing which surprised you really? I mean, I know I've asked it in a different way, but
Yeah, yeah.
surprise, really, what was that one thing?
Yeah, I think I genuinely felt it will be very difficult to sort of gather a group of teachers who will align to a philosophy which is absolutely new age in
Yeah,
education, given the fact that all these guys have had a very traditional methods of learning themselves. So unlearn and learn this would be a massive challenge. But I was extremely surprised when the adoption rate of our teachers to a new age method was so good, so fast. And maybe that stemmed from the fact that we were trying to solve a massive problem for those teachers. You know, I mean, just to give you, I mean, that's one data point that I can share with you publicly out here. I mean, our average salary of a teacher at Artyom is higher than the average salary of a CBSE school teacher of mainstream academia like maths and science.
wow. Okay, okay.
Okay, I don't
Wow.
want to reveal the
And
numbers.
these are full-time teachers, right? I mean,
Yeah, these
basically they're
teachers are
spending at
giving
least
these teachers are giving 6 7 hours a day, which is lesser than the hours they give in the school. They can do it from the comfort of the home using one laptop and internet and carry out the livelihood. And interestingly, 70% of our learners are from tier two cities. 65% of, oh, sorry, 70% of teachers are from tier two cities. 65% of them are women, right? So there's a real impact out there,
And
and
what's the number, by the way? How many teachers do you have for the 55,000 students?
350 teachers now.
50 teachers. And how easy or difficult is it to get them on board? Recruit them, basically, reach out
No,
to
no.
them.
So I think so far it's not that difficult because we have all these maestros with us, and they really want. I mean, they see the ads and they come. We have more teachers queued up than we can onboard right now. But trust me, MD, in a country like India, I mean, to be able to even teach 3 4 lakhs learners, we won't need more than 3,000 4,000 teachers. And
Hmm.
that's not very tough because there are really good teachers available in various parts of the country. They just need the right training and right platform to express themselves to grow in their career. So my biggest surprise was my teachers who have been extremely cooperative. They've been amazing to adopt the new age learning process that we are trying to sort of bring in with our team.
Wonderful,
Teaching process,
wonderful.
not learning, teaching process, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. There's interesting. What you called out really is your teaching process as well as the learning process over there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ashish, this has been fantastic. Thank you very much. Let me just check. There are no other questions also. Thank you very much, listeners, members. Thank you for the time. Thank you for being live at 7 p.m. in the evening. Recording of this session will be available sometime tomorrow. So with that, thank you all. Thank you, Ashish,
Thank
and
you
good
so much,
night.
MD. Really appreciate it. Bye bye. Thanks much. Good night. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.